I think, I mean, so many things appeal to me about playing Bianca. First and foremost, I think getting to collaborate again with all the fantastic folks that I get to in this, most especially Michael. Obviously, this go around, he's also my director and my co-star, and we've been, you know, such good friends throughout this journey, so getting to re-team with him. But I think the thing that interests me so much about Bianca, I guess, is sort of her heart, you know? These films obviously are a lot about family, and I think the ways in which she prioritizes family, what they mean to her, and also, you know, throughout the course of the films, that she's constantly trying to understand sort of who she is in the world, who she wants to be, and you know, her art and her dreams. And I think those are things that I certainly relate to, and I think so many viewers do too. I think Creed 3 makes so much sense for him. First of all, I think him directing makes sense. He's been working arguably his whole life because he started as a child actor. And I think when you have the benefit of working with so many incredible people, you learn a lot. And so him getting to really, you know, use all of the knowledge that he's gained over the course of his career in the process of directing feels seamless and like it was eventual for him. But I think particularly on these films, because he knows the character so much and he knows the world so much. And, you know, for the third installment, I think you're always trying to figure out what can we do that's new inside of this story. And so having Mike also, you know, be at the helm, I think, is something that adds a freshness to the universe now. The truth is, when we make these movies, the folks that you're making them with for that amount of time, particularly for a director, you're on a film for a couple years, and those folks really become your family. And so I think he has the kind of spirit to bring a group of people together to make them feel seen and taken care of. And then I think he's incredibly disciplined. He's always been with these films. It takes a tremendous amount of preparation, with the physicality especially, but getting to see him sort of take that spirit of approaching the work in an almost athletic way, to take that into directing, was just an honor to get to watch. I think what's been so tremendous about watching the relationship between Adonis and Bianca grow over the course of the 8 years we've been making these films is Mike and I, our relationship has grown and changed, in the sense that I feel like when we first started making these movies, we look back at photographs and we, first of all, like, look so much younger, which I think is not just an aesthetic thing. I think it has to do with us, like, still not quite being formed in terms of the kind of artists that we necessarily wanted to be or what we wanted to do, not just in this industry, but like with the time that we have on this earth with our lives. And I think now we come into the film as Adonis and Bianca now with a family and careers behind us and ahead of us. And I think Mike and I as people have such a more founded sense of who we are and what we want to do, and to get to see that growth and also support each other throughout the 8 years, and that growth has been really such a gift. I think family means everything to Bianca. You know, a facet of her, I guess, character, and something that we haven't outright explored in the films, is she has a sort of fractured relationship with her family. And so I think the idea of chosen family is something that feels really important to her. And I think, you know, necessity is the mother of invention. When we don't have the benefit of having a close and stable relationship with our family, we invent families around us. And I think what's been so beautiful to see for Bianca is, over the course of these films, her get to make her own family, which I think for a person that has a sort of splintered relationship with their family, that means so much. I think there's always sacrifices, but I also think that there's a kind of gift that your children hopefully give you, which is a newfound sense of purpose. So I think they illuminate your dreams and invigorate your dreams. And so for me, I don't think that Bianca has necessarily given up anything because of Amara. I think instead she's found new things that are imbued with a sense of importance when they weren't. I think your dreams, when they're just connected to you, sometimes can feel really shallow, and I think your dreams really deepen when they're not just for you, when they're for other folks, and especially for a person that you've made. So I think Amara is a real gift to her in that way. Well, you know, I think something that felt really important to me, while Bianca has progressive hearing loss, and we knew that, you know, there were facets of that I couldn't understand as someone that's hearing. I think what felt important to us is to not explore that through just me. It felt really important to actually have folks that are inside of the deaf community be a part of the experience of these films, and also to have that kind of vital representation, which we really get to have with Mila, who plays Amara. And getting to work with her just was so life-changing. I think we, as hearing folks, sometimes our point of view is really biased towards the hearing world. And you know, one part of that is that there's not enough stories that are told that allow us to see outside of our own worldview and reality. And so I'm really inspired by this film, hopefully giving a window for a lot of folks that maybe hadn't considered what a deaf experience might be like, that they might do that through Mila and through the character of Amara. And so for me, it just felt really incredible to get to support that, and also just work with such an incredibly gifted young actor, which Mila is. I think there's you know, ASL is an incredibly expressive, beautiful language. There's all sorts of subtleties that I've, in learning it, found so inspiring just as a performer, like the idea, for example, that, you know, you can control volume with sort of where your hands are placed, and also just how expressive that you get to be inside of that language. And I think also sometimes one impediment to us learning a new language or a new skill, particularly as adults, is this idea that you don't want to be bad at something. You know, it can feel very vulnerable to not be good at something. And so I think for Mike and I, and for all of us, the crew is also learning ASL. I think the humbling experience of not needing to be perfect, but just trying, you know, that's all you can do. And hopefully, I think through the film, maybe there will be a spark of curiosity in the audience to also try and learn the language, because it's a beautiful, beautiful language. I think in performance, something that really helps you kind of be as bold and brave, and I know this is certainly true with acting, and I'm sure it's true with boxing too, which is just to have everything sort of clear so you can really focus on what's in front of you. And I think particularly in the case of Adonis fighting Damien, literally what's troubling him is what's in front of him, is his opponent. And so I think Bianca helps to remind him. And that's the thing that I've always found really aspirational about their love, is I think they're constantly pushing each other to be the best versions of themselves. Yeah, I mean, Adonis and Damien have a real past, and they, you know, they grew up as children together, and children that were in a really tough environment. I think they were a sense of safety and a sense of comfort to each other. And even though they have been estranged for many years, and there's a lot of water under their bridge, so to speak, I think there's still a real connection between them that by the end of the film, I think you get to see what the opportunity might be, that maybe there is a chance for a real reconciliation. I think by the end of the film, there's at least the hope that maybe these two men can be that. And certainly between Michael and Jonathan, I saw a lot of that. It was definitely a bromance. And it is really kind of like a ballet in a way. It is, you get to see the expressiveness of the boxer. And so to that end, I think as an actor, there's a real challenge with figuring out, not just like learning the choreography, yes, but figuring out the style, how to express the style and the history of the man or the person inside of their boxing style. And so it was really a gift to get to see Jonathan do that, and of course to get to see Mike get back into the ring. It's so fun to get to watch the guys also with these real boxers and get to see them figure out how to really figure out that physicality. I think I'm so proud of any scene that Mila's in. I just feel I'm so proud of her. I'm so honored to get to have worked alongside her, and I'm so excited for audiences to get to meet her and her character, Amara. So those are really my proudest moments. Well, I was so grateful that we got to actually hang out and spend some time, Amara and I and Mike too, and just be together, and I got to spend time with her mom and her family. And so I think by the time that we were shooting, there was a real comfortability, and also getting to learn from her, you know, getting to have her help with all the ASL, but just in general, learn from her fearlessness. And, you know, I think anytime you're watching someone newly do something, you also think about when you were first learning. And the truth is, like, we should all be learning all the time. So I just, you know, it was such a gift to get to work with her. I felt so excited. I think also playing her mom, I just felt like such a stage mom watching her do so well. Like, I'd just be across from her in scenes being like, she's killing it, you know? So I don't know, yeah, it was nice. I hadn't really had that experience. I mean, obviously, I'm proud of my scene partners. When someone does a great job, it feels good and it makes us all look good, it's great. But I think something about playing her mom and just feeling this sense of real maternal pride for her always.